Daniel Caycedo with Colorado MMA News, and with me today is Anel Dudo, getting ready for your next fight, September 19th, so this coming Saturday, and that's going to be against Jayson Scott, a Nebraska guy, pretty good amateur record as well, kind of a wrestling base, and you guys are going to be fighting for the Sparta flyweight 125-pound title. So, Anel, here about a week out exactly, or 6 days out.
Yeah.
How you feeling?
I feel really good. I mean, I'm only 6 pounds away, Been training jiu-jitsu every day, boxing, Muay Thai, ready on all 3 ways, So
Cool.
I don't think he's ready for me at all. I don't think he's going to see me coming the way he has fought with other fighters because they're not on my level.
Yeah.
So
cool.
I guess we'll see.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it's like you said, it's a good matchup. He's a wrestler, but he's working on the stand-up. You come from that stand-up background, but you also have a wrestling background yourself, heavily accoladed wrestling. So it's a good matchup, and it would look on paper to be a strong matchup for you to potentially get another title under your for your mantle place. So how many title fights have you fought in as an amateur, and what would this potentially be if you were to win it?
To be honest, I've had like 8 title fights in total, but this is going to be my 5th one that I'm going to win. The other 3 title fights I lost was due to split decision in New York. I believe one was a draw in Las Vegas, and then another one was in a split as well. So this 5th belt is going to be, well, it's definitely going to be mine, that's for sure. So, yeah.
5 belts, I mean, that's a big deal, especially for an amateur. Obviously, you've done a good job with your career so far. 8-6 as an amateur. I mean, wins and losses obviously don't mean as much as titles do on the amateur basis. Once you go pro, that record's washed clean, and you start over at 0-0. So, 14 MMA fights, but you also fight Muay Thai, you fight boxing. So, how many amateur fights do you think you've had across all martial arts?
To be honest, I believe I've had about 25.
Wow. Cool.
23, 25, but yeah.
So I know that we had talked about potentially you seeing going pro as a close step, maybe 1 or 2 fights away last time we talked. So this will be another fight here for you. When do you envision going pro? I know you like, you mentioned to me before this show that you like the idea of Sparta's 4-ounce Muay Thai, 4-ounce glove Muay Thai fights coming up, and that you'd like to compete in that. But I got to think, 25 fights, potentially your 5th title here, the opportunity to being pro has to be knocking, right?
I mean, I was going to go pro right after I get this belt against Jayson Scott, but like you said, that Muay Thai popped up, and it's 4-ounce, and I don't think it's ever been done for Ami, so I'm definitely going to do that. That's what's kind of pulling me now, so I'm going to hold up on the pro. I mean, why rush? I'm only 22 years old,
Oh, absolutely. And like you said, the amateur wins and losses don't matter quite as much. So you build that experience, get that ring time, and when you go pro, when it matters, you're good to go. So that's neat. And I mean, is that something you think about, like as far as getting more experience as an amateur, so that when you go pro, you just run on this path? And if so, like, what do you envision there?
I would have went pro a long time ago if I wasn't thinking about that stuff. A lot of people don't really think about it. I'm thinking about getting as much fights as I can, so that when I go pro, I can make it worthy, like be undefeated. I won't pick fights. I'll have experience in all types of ground game or stand-up. Even if it's Muay Thai, clinch, I'll be able to avoid all of it, be calm in all those situations. So you can't get those unless you have the experience. Why go pro, ruin your record if you lose and learn from it when you can just stay amateur if you're still young? If you lose, it's not a loss. It's a lesson learned.
Yep, and like you said, 22 years old, you definitely got time on your side in that regard, so plenty of time. Cool.
Right.
So you got this fight coming up September 19th with Sparta, and your brother's actually going to be fighting on the card too, Anel Dudo. So what is it like fighting on the card with your brother and preparing ahead of time for it?
I mean, it's always good, especially since we're both doing MMA. We can work on the same type of tactic, like ground game, submission, stand-up, kicking. We work the same thing together. We can work hard. We can do the same type of strategy, and it doesn't really affect other fighters in our gym because we don't do it to them. We go hard off on each other, way harder than we do on our teammates, and it's only because we're brothers. And we have a camp together that just makes our intensity a lot even more, so we go even harder.
Yeah, that
Right.
makes sense.
Yeah. So,
Good benefit to have your brother in the gym and someone else to beat
right.
up on too. So you mentioned the gym dynamics because you train with AFA boxing, so obviously a primarily boxing gym, but you guys have an MMA team as well. So how do you blend in the other martial arts with that boxing training and sparring?
Well, he typically has MMA guys on like one side training with each other and boxing. We do the boxing technique with the boxers as well, but we would throw in some kicks while the boxers don't. And
Got
then
it.
we would throw in some takedowns, or we would do different stuff, but we still do the same type of boxing movements.
Cool, cool. So still that heavy boxing base, and it's done well for you in your career. I mean, you kick a lot as well, and you throw elbows and you clinch. I mean, you do it all, but clearly
Right.
you look like a boxer in the style that you're coming at people, the way you move forward, the way you cut the angles and throw the hands. And there's benefit in that. I mean, that boxing wrestling combination with low kicks works very well in MMA.
I
Working
agree.
the clinch game on the fence, very beneficial in MMA again as well. So your style does seem to be a style that's going to do well at the next level too. And if you're working with your brother on that, you know, you guys are fairly similar in records and experience, so you guys could potentially, you know, make it to the next level together as well. So
Right.
it'll be neat to watch and neat to see. So you know, moving forward from this, obviously the Muay Thai with MMA gloves is on the radar, but what do you want from this year? I know, you know, Corona, COVID kind of took away a lot of the year for a lot of the fighters. What do you want out of the rest of the year?
To be honest, I wanted to have a goal of 6 fights this year. I believe this will be my 5th fight of the year. So this October fight will be my 6th fight, which will
Cool.
be nice.
Wow.
And yeah, and I mean, I don't even think about COVID. I stay protected for people, you know, with the mask and stuff. But I'm mostly just focused on my lifestyle. I'm not going to let that fear take me down, you know. I'm
Yep.
still training every day. I'm still working. I'm still providing the economy money, you know. I'm not going to bring it down just because of fear. And if I'm a healthy individual, I might as well just continue giving the people show at the fights. They can watch pay-per-view. And if they're sick, they can stay protected and stay home, you
Absolutely.
know.
Yeah, I mean, 6 fights during this year. I mean, that's more than most people can say. So obviously, a sign of your commitment as well and determination. I love it. So, um, this fight coming up again for a title, 125 pounds flyweight Sparta title against Jayson Scott, September 19th, this coming Saturday. So obviously, people can buy the pay-per-view. What do they need to put on there to give you credit?
They just got to go into the coach section and type in Anel Dudo, and then they'll give me the fighter's credit as
Awesome.
they order the pay-per-view.
Cool. So use Anel Dudo as your code, get credit, and then how can people follow you online and follow your career?
They can just go to @Anel__18 on Instagram, Anel Dudo MMA on Facebook, or DudoBrothers.com for more information, and just check out my fight events there and stuff like that.
Awesome. Go give them a follow. Give us a follow. Colorado MMA News everywhere and on YouTube at The Prize Fighting Business. And then go watch Anel throw down for the flyweight title of Sparta. No, appreciate you coming on, man, and go get
Thanks
it.
for
Talk
having
to
me.
you, brother.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me. Hope you guys enjoy the show coming up.